we do some tweets and stuff? Sure, we're live and all that sort of jazz. Oh. So, we are streaming live and talking about what's going next, the news and stuff. I don't know. Okay, try and ask some questions. Bam. Korea. Christian here. Post. There as well. Let's put this up. Oh. Think. Already? So, have a quick look at my my crypto. Oh, that's depressing. Oh, that is. That's depressing. Oh no. Oh no. Good job. I don't have a huge amount of money into it. Right, let's bring this all online. Hi. How's everyone? Oh no! What have we got down as this? What's this? I haven't updated this stuff with things. No, we don't need a bigger case. That is no longer a thing. We're going to keep this case. So I've got my 3080. I've got a 3080, not the original 3080 I bought. One of my friends who watches the channel, who runs a co-runs a company, as director for a company that works with game PCs and the like, and that sort of jazz, helped millions out by getting us a 3080 each. I say getting us, allowing us to buy them at not too dissimilar prices from our RP. I mean, they're a bit over, but fair enough, sort of thing. Which is amazing, and I'll work out with them what I can give them for the channel. I think they just wanted a big shout out or something. So I'll sort them out later. I am incredibly thankful. I'm not sure to what extent, if I'm shouting at him, the company, or both. But I love you. You know who you are. I still have my original 3080, my GeForce 3080 order from the company. I bought it from 8 months ago when they were in stock with that company. That still have yet to send them to me. Yeah, so I'm still getting that one, and I'm assuming it's going to be a light hash rate model when they send it to me, which I'm then going to sort of do a video on my experiences with the whole hardware debacle, silicon shortage, and a couple of companies with my processor and my GPU. I'm doing some what I would consider pretty dodgy practices and just generally terrible at handling the whole thing. And it also feels to me that, especially with my GPU, I say it feels to me because I don't get sued, that there has been shenanigans with sorting out their friends and large companies and crypto miners with hundreds of GPUs, but not necessarily sorting out and helping out the gamer market that had purchased the products already when they were in stock. or at least appeared to be in stock. So there's been some shenanigans I want to talk about. Now, let me just put the hypocritical thing up as well. Obviously, someone helped me out with getting my 2 cards, so you know what I mean? You go, yeah. I mean, you've done the mates route to get your cards. What's different? Well, got a couple of cards from it for more legitimate purpose, but you're right. I mean, it's slightly hypocritical in that fashion, but I'm allowed to be a contradictory being. But on a little tiny bit of weight as well recently because I come off keto, and then I binged on all of the carbs. So I had pizza, and last night I had 2 bottles of wine. So I put on a bit of weight. I'm gonna phase it back into a normal human diet. No more sugar, low carb. That's my diet going forward. But I'm not going to be strict keto anymore, and see what happens. If I put on loads of weight, I'll get really tubby, or feel unhealthy again. Then I'll go back to keto. But I'm not a long-term ketoist. Hello! Hope everyone is doing well. If you'd like to ask any questions during the live stream, a question in brackets. And we'll get around to answering some of his questions soon. You should take every advantage life offers you. Don't beat yourself up about the cards. It's not beating myself up. I'm being realistic, and also you want to steel man any sort of opposition or counterpoints of view that you come across. And especially when I'm complaining about something, when I'm also supporting a similar practice to what I'm complaining about, I think it's reasonable to go, look, I've identified that this can be in some situations seen as hypocritical. However, I don't care. No, so regards, I will look into your icon pack and stuff like that later. Sorry, I've been a mixture of relatively busy and looking after my dad recently again. Zin's been away this weekend as well, although she is back today. She's not online yet. Planning to... So I will look at that at some point. Feel free to message me again about it. I'll get something out. Well, I'll get something done this week and probably chuck it into at least a news show or an update thing to talk about it, or email you some more questions about it. Yeah, no worries, mate. Thank you very much for that as well, by the way. I'm pretty low effort. What I mean is that I forget stuff and I don't really have a proper schedule. I was well shocked I managed to get my 3070 next day after launch. Congrats. That's pretty good. Obviously, that happens to some people. I mean, they do have a reasonable stock of them on the first days. It's just, obviously, huge amounts of stock get allocated and bought by companies, crypto miners, scalpers. And there's a lot of stuff that these companies could do now and in the future. Either the manufacturers, either the card partners, or either the actual resellers to curb that behavior. Not just increase the prices so that they're pre-scalping. Go, oh, but we'll just make the 3080 Ti scalper prices. And then they just get double scalped anyway. So I'm a pro-capitalist, but this is broken capitalism. This is capitalism without regulation in quite a bad way with this stuff. So GPU shortages are ridiculous. You can buy a full build system with a 3080 next day, but you need to wait 6 months to get a 3060 for the price of a 3080. So the best way to buy at the moment, almost entirely, is to buy a full system. Bam. That's sort of what you want to do. And if you're trying to get a GPU at the moment, flog off your old hardware, just buy an entirely new system. That's what some of my mates have done recently. So, yeah, it's a weird thing. GPUs are coming down in price on eBay. I saw a 20% drop. This could be because crypto is obviously dropping somewhat. I mean, there's been a relative crypto crash, but I mean, crypto is still ridiculously, hugely high in value. It's not like a crash. It's like halved in value. It's still gone up a lot. Still worth a lot of money. $35,000 for Biddy Boy, and over 2,000 for ETH. Although they did drop like around 10% in the last day. Got a reasonable amount of money tied up in crypto, but not like if I lost it all, I'd be pretty depressed. It wouldn't be sort of like you're on the streets or anything. Only drop in what you can afford. Hashtag not financial advice. But I'll tell you what happens to me more than give you advice, I suppose. So recently my dad has been a little bit ill. People know that my dad's had a quite miraculous recovery from lung and brain cancer with some targeted therapy, which has gone a huge way to giving. Well, for example, he's allowed to drive again, so it's helped him no end and helped us. It's been amazing. But over the last few days, he's sort of like, or a couple of weeks, he's been not eating very much, and he's been in bed. He's basically hurt his back, and he's got a problem with his tooth. So we need surgery for that, and we've had to go private for the surgery because otherwise we have to be waiting until September because it's giving him a load of pain and migraine. So it's, even private healthcare in the UK is still reasonably priced. So it's affordable because it's like, I believe, I assume, but the prices it's at, it's subsidised by an NHS and the government. So yeah, we've had to go private for that. Just was sensible to do. So hope he gets his tooth sorted out soon, which will help a lot. But him not walking and him being in bed a lot means that he needs to do physio for his legs, which is painful for him. So, and we're trying to, and he's lost a lot of weight, so we're trying to build him back up. I don't think it's anything more nefarious than that at this stage or anything. It's just one thing after another. Problem with social media financial advice is they never give you risks involved. No, because what they want to do, from what I can see, is largely they want to be positive about stuff. So people will accuse me of being like this as Star Citizen, and I don't think I am all the time. But they either have vested interest in a particular crypto, or they're very positive about crypto, so they're going to be just biased about it because they've got a lot of money tied up in it, and they're like, yeah, crypto. Not necessarily sort of like scamming you or anything, but they are, you know, disingenuous or don't give you the risks. There are huge risks involved with crypto. It's incredibly volatile. The market could collapse. Bubble could burst. Long-term hodl strategy probably is good, but maybe it's not. There's a lot going on there. Know when to take your profits out. Things like that is stuff that you need to educate yourself on it. But they are very volatile and dangerous for investment. But they can be potentially hugely lucrative. And I do believe that crypto is the future, for example. But I think people are worried about the death cross and all that sort of stuff. So obviously some Star Citizen topics to discuss as well in a minute, because we are primarily a Star Citizen, well, I say primarily, or almost entirely Star Citizen channel. Sometimes I talk about random other stuff. So we've got 3.14 on the horizon. It was and has been with Eva Carty and 3.14. Various bits in testing. We know that Tyler came out and said Orison and Crusader is part of that Eva Carty build. So a lot of people were like, what if Orison and Crusader get pushed back? I mean, I suppose it's possible that any part of the patch could still get pushed back if it's not ready or there's extreme problems or bugs. However, it's in the build. They're testing it. So it's not sort of like... it's very likely to be in the live build. And when we're going to see a live build? Probably middle of July for a live build. That's what I would expect. Trading updates to 3.14. So... nothing 100% confirmed, trading update-wise. I'm expecting a bit of an economy rebalance and tweak. I'm expecting the Ninetales lockdown, which is coming with 3.14 and going to be run multiple times, to have interesting trade opportunities in the locked down stations. And I would expect some other sort of commodity alerts and some... tweaks to the economy, allowing you to do cargo hauling a bit better. That is my expectation for 3.14 and cargo trading. But I can't be 100% sure because we don't know until it's in our hands. Sidero, best wishes to you and your family. Oh, thank you so much. Hope you're doing well, Sidero. Sidero, genuinely great chap in the community. Oh, thank you very much. You star. If you'd like to ask a question during the live stream, just a question in brackets and I'll grab it from the crowd. Hopefully crowd. Maybe it won't be a crowd. Maybe it will just be one question and I'll cry. So, what else have we got? 400i postponed to CitizenCon, cancelled, or never really existed. So, I think the 400i is going to be a thing. I think that they had a concept they were working on, which is an Origin competitor to the Constellation, and I think we saw some concept shots of that. I don't think it's cancelled. I don't think it never really existed either. I think that potentially the 404 that they did, which was an invisible ship, was actually potentially the 400i but made invisible. It could have been a Constellation, but I think it was probably a 400i. Well, I think it could have been a 400i, let's say that. And I think it will be in game at some point in the future. That's my feeling on it. I don't know for sure. I have not had CIG confirm that to me. Probably ask them. I'm not sure if they would confirm it to me or not. 600i pass. So I think they're going to tweak some of the interior materials to make it a bit more interesting, and I think they're going to do a lot of prop work with it. I actually think that's the main part of what they're going to do with the rework. Materials, props, some interest, rather than a huge amount of systems changes or anything, because the ship itself, it's not that complex. It's not supposed to have a load of extra utility or features. It's a sort of like luxury. It's that luxury feel, and eventually probably will get VIP gameplay, so you can carry VIPs around and stuff like that, and maybe some modularity. But I don't necessarily want it to have a load more functionality or anything. It doesn't need to change that much. It just needs to be more visually interesting inside, rather than clinical like it is at the moment. Does it have cargo space? Well, the 400i, I'm expecting it to have some cargo space in the same way that a Constellation would. We don't know for sure, because nothing's been confirmed for it. Even that its existence has not been confirmed. You actually... Oh, so some people... Okay, so some people want additional bays and stuff on the ship, eh? Okay, well... I think a medical bay is actually viable as an addition, thinking about it, because I would like a medical bay on it as well. And I think the cost of the ship and its VIP gameplay could necessitate or could allow for having a medical bay. It makes sense, do you know what I mean? It doesn't sort of like break the game by giving it a medical bay. It does give the ship a lot more power and utility. My opinion, the 400i would be a heavy fighter or cutty equivalent. A 500i would be a connie equivalent. Okay, yeah, I can see where you're coming from with that. Is Star Citizen stable enough to be worth buying for gameplay purposes? How prevalent are the bugs? Are there too many crashes or bugs for normal play to play with friends? So, Star Citizen is the most playable it's ever has been. It's probably worth waiting to see what happens with 3.14 when it goes live, because it's only a couple of weeks away for live. So maybe like 3 weeks away. It's probably worth waiting to see what that patch is like. However, it is very playable with much less in the way of bugs than before. And the crashes, yes, they sometimes happen on server, sometimes happen on the client. You might have an edge case, which is hellish, where you just constantly crash. But it is very viable to play with large orgs and groups of friends and smaller groups of friends and that sort of stuff. Is the gameplay there for what you want to do? That's the main question. Are you going to be having fun in the gameplay loops that they've got currently? So if you want to do mining, if you want to do some combat stuff, some of the more theme park ride missions are pretty cool. Obviously, we're going to have the event with the Xenothreat remaster, but also in the very near future, as part of 3.14, we're going to have the Ninetales Lockdown, which that's very viable to play with a load of people. That's what I would try and get your friends playing in. Exactly how that's going to work yet remains to be seen. How often they're going to do it. They can do it once a week, once a weekend, once every couple of days. Do you use Tobii Eye Tracker? So I've got a Tobii Eye Tracker. It is not on my desk at the moment because I moved around a lot of my stuff. I've used it. I think it's very cool for what it does. I would prefer larger screen to use it. I think more screen real estate makes it much better. And I've got a borderline screen for it. I think mine's 24-inch. Really want 27. Make use of it in the best way, at least from what I think. I've got a review of the Toby track up on my channel as well. I heard it was pretty laggy. Not that I've noticed. I mean, it's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty good. And the last thing CIG announced that surprised me was Firetech. Question, how many cool surprises like that do you think CIG are holding close to their chest? Speculation? Loads. So they're working on loads of stuff. And you can see some of that on the progress tracker, but the extent of how they're applying this to various missions they've got, because there's obviously dozens of points of interest, interactions with those points of interest, missions and gameplay loops with missions, and gameplay loops with a load of the sort of roles and mechanics they've got planned, which they have not fully elaborated on what they are, and there's lots going on with that. So, yeah, the track is excellent. Yeah, that's Toby tracker seems to have been pretty great. Will the Arlington Gang missions and Idris be back in the next gameplay patch? I'm expecting it to be in 3.14. Yes. So it's Mars Eckhart that's been broken. What have we got? What have we got? Hello, hello. Take a look at the newsletter. It should be in Evocati, shouldn't it? Should just say in Evocati. Yeah. So in the newsletter, it says Alpha 3.14 is with the Evocati PTU test group. So it can be in PTU, yeah, but the test group is not Wave 1, it's Evocati, which is the NDA'd test group, which I am part of. So I won't discuss the patch notes of the patch. I won't discuss screenshots of the patch beyond. I can discuss that there are screenshots, but I won't talk about exactly what they are and stuff. I won't show them. I won't show any recordings, that sort of stuff. I'm a Evocati test member, and as such, there's only limited stuff that I can talk about with 3.14. One of the things being stuff we know that's on the roadmap, stuff that CIG have revealed, and the fact that it is in Evocati testing. I do know that Star Citizen Leaks got hit by a YouTube strike from what appears to be CIG or a company working for CIG, because they showed, well, from what I can tell, because they showed NDA'd Evocati screenshots and Evocati stuff that is CIG's property, basically. So I might dive a bit more into that in the future, because obviously channels that cover that stuff in some detail, like, well, I won't name names because I don't want to worry them, but with the Evocati leaks and some of that stuff, it's worth treading carefully, because it is CIG's property and they have first right to publish. So it causes problems. Obviously, they don't want people to encourage leaks from the company or Evocati as well, and they are NDA'd for a reason. And I will cover some leaks on the channel, but I'll be relatively careful about what leaks. Like, it won't be Evocati leaks, even if I wasn't an Evocati member, because I was umming and ahhing about this for a long time. Do I want to be part of the Evocati? Because that means I can't cover Evocati leaks, but also some of this stuff is NDA'd for a reason, and is encouraging players and staff to leak when they probably shouldn't. Well, they definitely shouldn't. But I'm pro news, and I'm pro people covering news. I'm not pro the leaker, the original leaker. I know that's a bit of cognitive dissonance going on there. But, you know, as I said earlier, I'm a contradictory being. But you better know my thought process there. Could we expect an NPC player would have access to the missile mode while in turret? Cutties and freelancers would benefit from it greatly. It's possible. It's possible that the MFDs and the being in a turret station, you might still be able to have access to other stations. I'm not sure how the permission system is going to work, but there might be some turrets you can do that in, maybe not others. You might just be able to do it if the captain allows you to, gives you permission to use those MFDs and those systems. That sort of makes sense, doesn't it? So 3.14 is not in the public-facing PTU. It is in Evocati. Could we expect? So talk about. Do you agree that 3.14 will drop similar time last year? I'm thinking mid-July at the moment. Mid-July is what it looks like to me. Do you think we'll get Theatres of War for 3.14? I was expecting Theatres of War tests to be part of the 3.14 cycle, yes. To what extent, I don't know. I am going to be poking? I'm going to be poking CIT about it. Ooh. I want to organise a big Bar Citizen later this year in the UK. That is something I probably will be, because I previously took donations for that. That's probably what donations will go to. Because from that, what I'll do is I'll invite like devs down. We'll have rent out a bar, a pub for a day, so people can. So we'll do a social, maybe do some competitions, a pub quiz, get some devs down, maybe have them chat for a bit about something, maybe do some stuff online, those sort of things. And from that, I can make a load of videos from interviewing some devs and getting some more interesting stuff. But I love Star Citizen socials. I've talked to people about this before. It's one of my favourite things about the Star Citizen community, that we can have Eve-like fests and these Bar Citizens, and can have these big socials, and we can do this like social gameplay or plan stuff. On one day I'll be able to go to these events, and we'll be able to plan domination of the universe, whether that's in a financial or competitive way, or talk to different orgs. Oh, that's genuinely exciting, eh? It'll be a British Cons Bar Citizen type thing, yes. From my point of view, it'll basically be a big Bar Citizen / British Con type thing. I talked to Chris and John, who Jail, who originally started British Con with me, to see if they wanted to be associated with that. It doesn't matter if it's not. It's sort of irrelevant. Do want to bring British Con back once we're allowed to socialise with each other again. That would be nice, wouldn't it? Pyro in 3.16. How else would you haul massive amounts of cargo with profit in the Hull Sea? I see what you're saying. So when we have Pyro and serve meshing, which should be coming together, and potentially refueling at the same time, probably refueling at the same time, that patch will be called 4.0. Okay, so and I don't think it's ready yet. I think middle of next year probably for that. I see what you mean about the Hull Sea, but they can have the Hull Sea in game without necessarily going bam. Let's also release Pyro. We've been waiting for the Hull Sea for ages as well. Hull Sea is almost ready for implementation. We're expecting it at the end of the year now. I don't think they need... Oh my god, Robert Johnston. They don't need Robert Johnston, but I do. F off! He always tells me to F off and then gives me 100 New Zealand dollars. Alright, I will then. Off to bed. Keep the noise down, please. No porking. It's okay, it's been 5 years. Good night. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Robert Johnston. Very much appreciated. You are a scholar and a gent, sir. Very much. Oh, you star. I don't know why I've got so many beautiful whale people in my community that support the channel so well. So, but it is genuinely appreciated. One day I hope to do something for you more than just make random Star Citizen content. Maybe make some content that you help influence. Thank you. Thank you. Has the Taurus SU been leaked yet? If it has, I wouldn't be able to talk about it. Because it would be probably part of the Evocata leak, which I would not discuss. Now that CIG has seemingly repurposed the Starfarer as a refueling refining ship, do you feel that the ship will get a redesign of its floor plan? So I still think it's going to be a gatherer as well. I still think it's going to be a gas gatherer. But I think that it's going to be a refueling ship, but you can also set it up, as they said, for set it up with the refinery reactors. You can have different pods for raw materials, for fuel, for mixing it, for refining it, set all that sort of stuff up and choose. But I also think it's very much going to be a a gatherer ship as well. So that gathering might take the form of siphoning salvage, or it might be its own gas mining thing. Who's behind you? It's Chris Roberts. Yeah, he's having a little smile. How does one become an Evocati? So if you are active on the issue council and play in as many PTU tests as possible, you're more likely to get invited to Evocati. And CIG will email you to invite you. What do you think all the unannounced contents are on the tracker? So some of that is going to be new ships that they have yet to reveal. So that could be mobile refinery ships, especially if they've been talking about refining recently. That could be 400i. That could be the, what was it? The longbow. People have talked about and said about rumors. One of the other things about Evocati and leaks in general and all that sort of stuff, always take them with a huge pinch of salt. Patches can change, very much so, and leaks at any point, they may not be accurate at the time of leaking, or they may be accurate at the time of leaking, but heavily change. And, you know. So I'm very much looking forward to the Starfarer, and I still think it will fit its purpose. I think it's actually getting more utility now. Who's the companies that funked you over? Oh yeah, yes. So with my graphics cards and stuff, I will talk about that in the future. I don't want to hugely name names yet. I don't want my clout or anything associated with that, or my complaining at the moment, to affect how that company treats me. I want them to treat me just as a normal individual, without any form of platform or anything like that, so I can talk about my genuine experience with them without do you know what I mean? Because if I had whined and pissed around a load early on, they might have gone, oh yeah, sort him out, otherwise he'll complain. That wouldn't have been a proper representation, do you know what I mean? Jake Short, thank you very much for the money. I like money. Thank you. You star. With no question or anything. Thanks. Star. I'll accept your money. You don't need to super chat, you don't need to donate or anything to ask a question, by the way. You can just put question in brackets in the chat, and I'll come to it at some point. I am typically quite far behind in chat, so bear that in mind as well. You can wait like 10 minutes or so and ask a question again if you want, if I haven't answered it. A lot of time I have answered it when people ask the question again, or I've just come to it. But sort of bear that in mind. Do you know when they plan to finish Persistence, or is there no ETA? So, okay, Persistence in general is part of iCache, persistent server streaming, persistent streaming, and server meshing, all this sort of like bundled into one. It is not finished yet by any means. There's a huge amount of work that goes into it and really it may be finished once they have server meshing fully implemented with its dynamic server meshing, which is quite far in the future. We're talking at least a couple of years if we're lucky and they hit a home run with it. But it depends on what sort of persistence you're talking about, because we also have persistence with loads of other things and them tracking data. And are you talking about just persistence of leaving an item in a location? Because that all should be coming in before full dynamic server meshing. After the probes announcement, do you think we'll have long monitor sphere based scanning? I think it's going to be similar to Eve, at least Eve's original scanning, where you'll send out a probe, although there's going to be travel times to it and fuel associated with it, and you'll probably be able to connect to them, and then you'll be able to triangulate and ping from the probe to find locations and that sort of stuff. And it'll probably be relatively expensive to have these probes. Be part of the exploration gameplay, in my opinion. I appreciate all the kind words to my dad. I think he's doing pretty well overall. It's obviously just at the moment. Do you think we'll see the new Vandal ships in the persistent universe before Squadron 42 releases? Yes. I think we'll see them in Arena Commander in the not too distant future. I think they're going to do an Arena Commander update, and I think we'll see the new Vandal ships there, the Scythe and the Glaive, and potentially more. And that will be a big update for Arena Commander. Why is the character only available in a $1,200 package? It will be available again later in the year. As some people have said, it's available at the grey market, but make sure you do all your research before buying anything on the grey market. CIG can't help you with that. It is not supported. But gambling when in-game games, these functions are great time sinks. Okay, so in-game gambling does affect what countries it can be released in, and the age rating associated with it. So they have to be careful about what certain things in game. Just see. So I'm not sure what we'll see in forms of casinos and gambling or mobiGlas apps. Any idea when we might see the flight-ready Perseus? No, I don't know when we'll see the flight-ready Perseus. I don't think it's going to be like many years or anything. I think it's relatively. It doesn't need any new mechanics. It is a combat ship. It is not the most massive ship in the world either, and their sort of pipelines for creating ships are significantly better. But it's not a small ship by any means. Fateaki! Props to CIG creds for your video being part of their press releases. Can you be more specific about what you mean? So some people were saying that I was shouted out, and I've watched it twice actually. I was shouted out in their Star Citizen Live, not in their Star Citizen Live. But I didn't see that. They inside Star Citizen, they used a load of my footage, and they actually asked for my footage as well, which is very. They don't need to. I mean, it's effectively theirs, and I give them full permission to use my stuff whenever they want, pretty much. I'm pretty chill about that sort of thing. I suppose technically, and that I hold it is my work. So, yeah, I'm glad they used that. They used it quite a bit in Inside Star Citizen, which was it was great to see. Like that is the only, the second one, but it's the only real BoredGamer event that we've done, where I got some people in my community just to randomly join quickly to play through the Xenothreat cargo mission, and then later on, I don't think we actually did it as a community. I don't think we did the combat section as a community. Me and Zin recorded when we did it, because we did it when we do events for the community. Typically, we want to understand how the event works first, not always, but they used our footage for that, and yeah, that's cool. Glad they liked it. Glad other people liked it as well. But is there more to that as well? Have they done other things? Have they credited me in other places other than that? The press releases. I love the hustle. I love the attention. When do you think we'll see the Polaris? I think we will see work on the Polaris begin more earnestly towards the end of the year. That's my expectation for Polaris stuff. Let me just check. So we've had the Polaris and the Perseus. Let me just check to make sure they're not on the progress track already and I've just missed them. Polaris, no. Purse. No. Not yet. They're not there yet. Gonna check, just in case. Any additional updates on the cargo space in the Taurus? Not that I'm aware of. Gen Desperado, thank you very much for the raid. Very much appreciated, sir. Hope you are doing well. Hope you had a good stream. If you indeed streaming. Appreciate it, sir. Hi. I see discussions already as to the completion of the Stanton system. However, the Stanton Star is just a placement marker at the stage. Yeah, so there is still obviously stuff to finish in the standard system, and even when they've finished it, there's going to be huge more updates that will go out to it throughout Star Citizen's development. Loads more content and stuff. So we're also expecting to see the Iron Halo and the Crusader Gates there. They're a major addition to the standard system. The jump point, and jump points, I suppose, to other systems. And then loads of more points of interest. Obviously, they're still finishing up the landing zones there as well, and they need to get the race and some of the stuff that Grimheck's done, and there's more to do. Regarding one of your last videos, when we might expect exploring type of gameplay. So, we don't know yet. Expect potentially a little bit more with the new scanning mechanics coming in 3.14, but they're working towards this long-range probe gameplay, which is scanning down points of interest and going there, which is going to be fantastic. That's huge amounts of exploration and things to do. Really, we need more points of interest, more gameplay content, more assets and stuff before we have proper exploration, and then missions and stuff associated with that. We don't necessarily need new star systems for exploration, because for me, exploration will be you going to the edge of a star system and just keep on going. Just keep on going. There's stuff to scan down, there's stuff to find, there's huge amount of space. What they use like less than 1% of the space at the moment in the star system, and actually sort of let's move around. But this will allow people to use that space and have missions and stuff generated everywhere. You're going to break into Crowfall. So I backed Crowfall on Kickstarter or something like that ages ago. July 6th. I will check out Crowfall in more detail. Let me actually bring that up. Crowfall. Actually, also Magic Gathering. Cool. Got those new Magic the Gathering secret layer. So I've just started running a different wing of BoredGamer, investing really in board games and Magic cards and things like that as well. That sort of stuff, and I'll be picking up some of the secret layer things. Some stuff I'm doing, and in the future maybe I will run an additional channel or channels on some board games and some collectibles and things like that. Crowfall, and I will try and work out how to back Crowfall on some form of media. Me and Cameron did Ashes of Creation and Crowfall with that. We'll work it out. Yeah, Honeydew, give me a poke about it. Remind me as well. If it's any good and I enjoy it, then I'm happy to play it with the community as well, and that'd be great. I'd play with you. Is the assuming we can get servers that are convenient? Do you know what I mean? I don't want to. It's terrible if I'm connected to some server. Like I can't really play in America because it's terrible. Whatever. Are you going to? That's literally what we just talked about. Is the 890 jump already gold standard? Not really. It needs to have materials updates. It needs to have the physical damage system, some damage state stuff, and physical components. Get ready for physical components. So, and gold standard constantly changes based on the new tech. So, do you have an opinion of when we'll see Squadron 42? I'm an original day one backer. I'm hoping towards the end of 2022. But I've been expecting Squadron 42 since the end of 2016. So, what do I know? Do you think missions like data theft, thing from CitizenCon, might become a thing relatively soon? So they've talked about a event and missions and stuff with Infiltrator, which that sounds like an infiltration mission. We don't actually know much about it. They've also talked about having those sort of missions and stuff in the future as well, and hacking and lots of this stuff. So I would expect something similar, or for component parts of that CitizenCon 2019 mission on Microtech to be in the game in some form They've also talked about little engineering areas and back areas and getting into them for part of missions as well. So this will all be connected. Any new news or update on Concierge? I'm hoping a black and gold 890 jump. Nothing new that I've heard recently about Concierge. With refinery gameplay in development, do you know if the Endeavour will have a refinery module to go with the hangar? I have not heard for anything. I've not heard of anything refinery module-wise for the Endeavour. However, I would expect more modules for the Endeavour in the future. What's your favourite gameplay loop so far in Star Citizen? I mean, the most developed overall one is mining, for sure, and that gives a satisfying full gameplay loop. I think what I've enjoyed the most with Jumptown was cargo hauling at the time, but at the moment now, I mean, when bounty hunting works, it was like the Mars, going through the Mars Eckhart stuff. Don't really know. What do you think they'll show at CitizenCon 2021 this year? There'll be a load of presentations like normal, probably some new ships. I'm expecting potentially them to start talking about Squadron 42 more earnestly, and I'm expecting to see some gameplay loops and the Nyx and Pyro system, and some new tech with that. New mission that will span both systems would be my expectation. Do you know if CIG have made any progress on finding the cause and fixing desync issues? Yes, they're constantly working on that. A larger code and networking overhaul is obviously being made as part of the persistent streaming and server meshing sort of things that they're working on. So when that is done, I would expect those issues to be mostly, if not entirely, resolved. I'm very far behind in chat, so just be aware of that. What's happening with the new system? Last I saw or heard, don't care about the news, we had the CitizenCon and showed the wormhole getting to the new system. So they're working on Pyro and Nyx system at the moment. They've got a dedicated gameplay studio now. The Montreal working on, headed by Turbulence, working on gameplay area and star systems and star map updates and things like that. And so they're getting there. I'm expecting new system middle of next year. Anyone notice the 3080 price going down? Yes. So graphics cards are going down on eBay in price, which is good. Obviously, the light hash rate models are coming into play as well, which is going to drive prices down. Have you ever considered creating gameplay videos on your channel? I do occasionally. Once we have a much more stable Star Citizen, so hopefully with 3.14, me and Sin are going to start to do a load of meta and guides, but also place through some of the missions. I appreciate all the love. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, Zin put this B-roll together. She does one every month or every couple of weeks for the stream. What do you think's up with some of these leak stuff? I can't talk about leaks that are derived from Evacardi stuff, unfortunately. Not unfortunately, I just can't talk about them, so sorry about that. Hey Bored, well wishes to you and yours. With that star map rework, do you think it will release with in-ship functionality or just mobiGlas function? I think the first stage of it will be just mobiGlas update. I suppose they could do it on an MFD pretty easily. I mean, they've got the HUDs all getting updated for all the new systems, so they could, I suppose. How will CIG handle graffitied landscapes? Cargo boxes arranged to spell things with full global persistence to launch. This could ruin the immersion factor, in my opinion. What? Like just me writing toss or scam in crates? Well, that's the thing. People can do that if they want. You could just do it that weather and stacking crates, if they're outside, they want to actually be on the ground, so like on the flat level as close to the ground as possible. They just move over time and actually fall down very quickly. Maybe, question mark. When would you estimate AI will be intelligent enough to make combat on foot fun? That could be very much this year. Because they're working on AI. They're working on AI for outposts externally to outposts, and they're working on animals as well. There's obviously a long way to go to get AI fully moving around and transitioning from ship to ground to inside an outpost to outside an outpost and all that sort of jazz, which is what we want. But I'd expect some form of combat-ready AI, much more viable to play against and actually give us some sort of interest and intrigue later this year. I think. What do you think will come first? AI blades or new systems? I'm thinking some of the AI blades will come first. That's my expectation. Good to see you, Mr. Board. Shout out to Zin. I think Zin is still away at the moment. He'll be back later today. I think we're planning to interview a community member, Sarge, who's a massive donator to my channel, but he's a true Star Citizen whale, but he has very erratic opinions on Star Citizen, from him loving it, enjoying it, and wanting to buy all the starships and spaceships and buying loads, to also really disliking certain things, really being quite critical of certain elements of Star Citizen from patch to patch, and I quite like him for that. He's quite an interesting character to interview and to talk about, well, potentially, hopefully, and a good mate, but let's see if we're friends after the interview. Has Theatres of War been pushed back 5 years now? Chris has seen the Battlefield 6 gameplay footage. Better jump out your ship and then jump back in soon. Hopefully not. Just need something basic and pretty for Theatres of War, don't you? But the netcode just sort of really isn't there yet for them to do what they want. What's your favourite solo ship? Depends what I'm doing. Avenger Titan, Cutlass Black, Prospector, Saber. Depends what I'm doing. Looking at the roadmap, how far off is Squadron 42? We could see it quite genuinely at the end of next year, released, maybe. I mean, it depends on what they want to do with it. And CIG are keeping Squadron 42 cards very close to their chest. Concierge are getting some new changes, but we don't know what. What should we expect? Some more aesthetic stuff. Maybe a couple more ships that Concierge will get. Weird question, but I've seen you refer to Evocardi a lot. What is it? So Evocardi Test Flight are a group of hand-picked testers picked by CIG that are from the community. So I'm one of them. They are NDA'd, non-disclosure agreements, so they can't share details of what they're testing. But typically it's things like the 3.14 patch and things like that. So and they test before anyone else in the community tests them. So before it goes to first wave PTU, the more public testing focus patches, it's NDA'd, can't release content on patch that the Evocardi test. It's for stress testing and focus testing and things like that. Do you have any idea when we can expect drones to start making the way into game? So they've had some bits of drone gameplay sort of talked about and filtered in. They pushed a load of the mini drones and things like that back. But as part of ongoing work to AI and ongoing work to ship docking, so things like the Constellation and P-52 dock that is connected to drones, as well as some of it, having those entities be able to separate and come back together. But basically, the first sort of drones we'll get, I suspect, will be scout and combat drones that effectively are just floating, moving turrets that can then redock with the ship. I don't think we're too far off with that. A morning board, just curious, with Anvil being invited by the UEE to help develop new tech, does this mean the Carrack V2? And what do you believe its capabilities are? You might see some more modules for the Carrack in the future. Um, how will jump points be managed once floodgates are open to Pyro and other systems? We don't know. We don't know exactly what they've got in store for jump points, because they will have evolved since we last saw them in CitizenCon 2019. Any idea why toggle switches on the HOTAS might trigger randomly in Star Citizen at the moment? Nope, it is a bug, obviously. Do you think we'll get AMD Fidelity X Super Resolution in Star Citizen? So, I think what you will be able to use is anything that is hardware neutral. So anything that Vulkan can make use of, you'll get, rather than card-specific stuff. But I would expect some form of DLSS or the AMD equivalent, or the hardware neutral equivalent of that in the not too distant future. And they're working on the Gen 12 renderer, they're working on Vulkan integration. What kind of cruiser-sized capital ship would you like to see beside your beloved drone carrier? Good callback. That is what I would like to see. Just general cruisers, just combat cruisers. You want cruisers to be relatively fast. Maybe a broadside torpedo-based cruisers and things like that. That'd be pretty cool. You have some strike cruisers, which are launch ships off that are very short range for boarding and for assaulting. Sorry if this has been asked already, but when do you think we'll see 3.14 PTU start? So with the Bacardi at the moment, I'm expecting a live build at the moment around middle of July. So end of next week at the earliest, you might see first wave PTU if stuff's going well. Jared jokingly said that BoredGamer is going to be up to no good regarding the staff area. Oh, and refueling each other. Okay. Okay. Human centipede staff area. Okay. Hello, hello. Hello to Belgium. And hello to everyone else in the world, wherever you are. Hey, Bored, I just mentioned that Jared mentioned you in humorously. Yeah. I appreciate the call-outs from CIG. I want to be part of the community, and I want the CIG and the community and everyone to know that I'm pretty friendly. Do you know what I mean? I'm certainly not standoffish with the CIG. And I appreciate them being friendly and playful back. Like, that's cool. Do you know why Microtech doesn't have bounty hunter missions? Love the new faction system and want to improve my standings elsewhere. You will have bounty hunting missions in that area. They had them a while ago, and I think they broke. Do you know if there's a way to see the total of any limit ship CIG has sold? No, but I will try and get that data for you. There's some stuff I'm doing with that at the moment. I'm trying to find out a breakdown of staff and teams. And I'm trying to find out a breakdown of finances, ships sold, and limited ships sold as well. Do you know if there are talks of creating a bounty hunt where option is to get your target alive with high reward? That will be a thing in the future, yes. But we don't have less than lethal weapons yet. What was the Horizon ship in the background? So in the background now, that is the Genesis Starliner, which is the people transport ship, which I'm very much looking forward to. I'm going to grab some water because I am parched. I will BRB, and I'm going to go for a PP. Chair, you're in charge. Also, Chris Robertson embodied floating head. Body. Now he's embodied in a chair. There you go. Let's see. Smile at these people. Well, this ain't smiling. Deal with it. I'm back. Hello. Don't leave. So I was just talking to my mother, because mum and dad are here at the moment. And I'm gonna buy. My dad's hasn't got a massive appetite at the moment, but it's Father's Day in the UK. So I got him loads of snacks and things for Father's Day, and I'm buying them takeaway tonight. And they originally wanted takeaway from this Indian we always go to, and it's quite nice. However, I did warn them. So we're going to go to a different one. I warned them from this particular Indian. I've had suspected food poisoning twice, and more recently, I had literally a few weeks ago, I had the worst pain I've ever had in my life, and the whole night I was just sat in my bathroom crying, and just unable to move properly. At one point, I couldn't move or talk. I was like, I need help. I haven't got the energy to cry out for help. That's how bad the gastrointestinitis or whatever I had was. It was not great. So I've gone, let's not get it from there ever again. I think the second time you have a problem somewhere, shame on you. If you keep on going there, well, you're an idiot. I had a chicken bunna, I think it was from there, and rice and stuff. I was very drunk at the time as well. Just got home from seeing one of my best mates, and he's been drinking all day. She was fine. She didn't have any problems, but I had the curry when I got home, and I was dead. Like it was rough. I needed to go in. I needed to go to A&E, but I didn't go to A&E because I didn't have enough energy to move. But I need to call out to someone. I can't. It's really bad. It's really bad. Passed out a couple of times, so I just like sweating on the floor. It was rough. Anyway, enough of my personal movements. What else we got here? After the message that Odyssey is, do you think that it's a good time to jump into Star Citizen? Star Citizen is very much in alpha still. It's really, really fun, at the very least, to be a tourist in each of the major patches and events now, because there's obviously going to be those regular gameplay events, which are definitely worth playing, because they give you a genuine gameplay loop for Star Citizen, which should be pretty good fun. So if you don't mind jumping in for a few dozen hours every 3 months, and I think Star Citizen's perfect. It's not a fully developed, fully finished game by any means, and Elite Dangerous at least was. Obviously, when they deployed Odyssey was not the best. It needed more work. There was problems with it. It's not to say that Odyssey can't be a great game eventually. Probably will once they get all the bugs and problems sorted with it. Do you have a future profession in mind you want to do primarily? Economy-based gameplay, so base building, industrial stuff, bit of mining, bit of everything in economy-based. Do you think the long-range scanner probes are drones? Oh, I think they are more proby than drones. I think they are their own thing, but I see what you mean. I mean, they could be. Do you think because the drones themselves might not exist once they've been deployed and gone out of range of your ship? They might exist ephemerally. Do you think ships with drone bays will be able to use other drones? I think some will be able to. We know that the drones in the Vulcan, for example, will be able to be outfitted for rearm, repair, or refuel. But I think that some drones will be able to have different weapons. Some will be able to have different types of drone potentially. How are your Lord videos doing? I think they're doing pretty good. So Zin's got there's one to release on the channel, which will go out probably tomorrow. Today or tomorrow, haven't decided yet. It's on What is it on? On the Kronos system and the Synth world. I knew that. Of course I knew that. I prefer not to be drunk anymore. So if you say me see some very drunk gaming or drinking on stream, you may see some moderate drinking on stream at some point and sensible, but I will not get into a state where I've been on redacted before, where I pretended I was a swan. I will not get. I don't want to. Number one, it's bad for my diet. Number one, it's not great for me, and I want to be more responsible as a human. I don't enjoy getting that shit faced. I'll still drink. I'll still have a good time. But I'm going to drink a lot less. And I'm not going to drink for the sake of getting drunk either. I don't find that fun anymore. How high can we get on the new narcotic system in Star Citizen? It's going to be based on when we get the new player status system, and there will be various drugs and things that will help heal you, but also that will do other effects. Moderate inebriated is fine. One day when maybe we can smoke wacky backy in this country, and then we do that legally, I'll probably chill out with that. That hopefully will sort out my anxiety to some degree. Maybe not make it worse. Oh god. Do you think we'll see new ship weapons soon? Yes, I think we'll see some larger size ones, obviously with the Ares, Ion, and Inferno. Those size 7 weapons, but you'll see some new weapons too. I do not eat sugar anymore. I do not have sugar. Other than I did drink 2 bottles of wine yesterday, which would have had sugar in. So other than very occasional when I have alcohol or chill, very, very special occasions, I do not have sugar as part of my normal diet at all. Like entirely cut out. And I generally have low carb now. I'm not full keto anymore. How do you imagine exploration gameplay will work? I think exploration touches on a huge amount of stuff. However, I think you'll be able to scan down locations with drones and via other means as well. But you'll be able to scan down points of interest, find points of interest, be able to go and visit those points of interest to scout them out, do scanning and detection work on them to find out more information. I think you'll be able to, once you've found some of these locations, travel out further and scan down more things, not just with drones and probes. Some of these are going to be long-range scans, but not probe scans. They're going to be long-range scans from ships, stuff like that. So I think there's going to be a huge amount to discover and find from just finding points of interest, just using ship scanners to find points of interest, using drones to find, or probes to find points of interest. Do you enjoy Star Citizen fan machinima videos like One Star, Jump, and others make? Any favourites or noteworthy ones? I mean, obviously we had a load of that Finished Feather stuff that he made originally. I do like some of the machinima, and I hope we get more, and some more. I think once we get a more developed community that is able to be a bit more mature in its sort of like content creation and its jokes and its in-jokes and stuff, then I think that would be pretty cool. There's obviously some great machinima out there already, but I suppose I probably need to watch a load more. Do you think the performance of combat AI won't be improved until server meshing is in? No, I think we'll see improved AI before that. I think they're improving it all the time, but major improvements before that, yes. Is the Star Runner, Mercury Star Runner, a solo ship, or do I need mates? It is best run with friends. You're right, Arcade Alchemist, mate. When is Chris going to get a quantum computer from IBM in order to get that database handling up to speed? Oh my god, and Windows 11 and oh. You think if they went, actually, we could just get a quantum computer and actually have a load of this stuff for server meshing sorted? I wonder if they would. Yeah. Right. Have CIG announced plans to build additional solo mining ships? No. But I would expect some at least modular ships to you both to change some other ships into some form of mining type gameplay or utility-based gameplay to help mining in the future. But it could very well get more mining ships. Do you think Bethesda's space sim, likely single player, will affect Star Citizen in any positive or negative way? You're talking about Starfield. We don't know much about Starfield. And I believe they said it was going to be a Xbox exclusive. Does that mean it will also be on Game Pass on PC? Or probably at some point. But I think it's going to be a Mass Effect-y, exploration-y, slightly influenced by Star Citizen, but more exploration type gameplay, RPG, single player campaign focused. Does that really affect Star Citizen much? Maybe a little. I think, if anything, it will just draw more people into the genre. When do you think we might get some more news on the Benny Metchman? CitizenCon? Was he on this later this year? We'll certainly see some updates on it. They're working on it. Is there a difference between the EU and US servers? In the UK, I have much better performance and there are a lot less bugs on the US servers. Yeah, so do I, but it might be just the times of the day I go on there. I'll find out if there's actually any tangible difference, because I didn't even think about checking. Will the Ninetales lockdown be in PTU Wave 1? Don't know. They might test it. But they might they might not test that in the PTU at all. And then they might, after 3.14 is released to live, they may then have a separate PTU testing it. What's your stance on soloable cap ships? So, running a cap ship solo. So, you'll be able to run it with NPC crew. You'll be able to semi-automate some of the stuff with AI blades, potentially. If you're just transporting the cap ship around, I think it should be potentially viable sometimes. But you're going to have problems if things break on the ship and you're flying, or if you encounter any form of hostility. Do you know what I mean? But relays and things could break and they need repair. Keto doesn't work if you keep eating sugar. Yep, totally agree. If you spike your blood sugar up, that gets your body out of ketosis. What's the word? I was going to say ketogenesis. Ketosis. And drinking alcohol. Yep, so you can get low sugar, low carb alcohol, but as long as your carbs don't hit a certain roof, as long as your sugar you don't spike your blood sugar, it should be good. However, I'm now coming off keto because I want to be on keto for a long time because I do want to enjoy all foods except for sugar. But I'm not eating sugar and I'm relatively low carb. What do you think of the possibility that if you were to buy an alien ship in game, example, the Banu Merchman would require a reputation or learning the language of Banu? So it might require. So you're able to buy it off players. You're probably able to buy it from other shops, and they might be quite expensive. But you might also be able to get access to it via Banu Soli by doing load of missions for them and getting rep up with them. Yeah. After hearing more talk about the refining ships, do you have any idea about what such a ship might be like in terms of size? It's supposed to be a small to medium-sized refinery ship that they're building, but also it sounds like you're going to be able to have modular sections of ships that are already in game, like the Starfarer, have these reactors, these refineries on them. But mobile refinery ship, they sort of like been talking about, implying, yeah, medium-sized. So I think Constellation type size would be my expectation. I mean, it's possible they make it a bit bigger and it'd be more like Starfarer size, but more for mineable refinery stuff. Solid minables, asteroids. I got a Banu Merchantman and I got a Kraken privateer by mistake. Was after the Kraken. Should I keep the Banu Merchantman or should I upgrade to something else? Entirely up to you. Depends what gameplay you want. Quite the ships though. Quest state / at no pressure. Yep, the Carrack, one of the best. Yes, I would expect the Carrack to be pretty good at resisting atmospheric pressures inside gas giants. Drone's also resilient. I don't know. Depends on the drone, maybe? Have they said if they're working on approachable stars soon? I don't know much about work that's going on physicalization of stars, actually. Thinking about it. What is the alien integration going to be like? I imagine first ships, then NPCs, then alien landing zones. Is alien integration important to them? So, they want aliens walking about in the Star Citizen universe, like the Devaran, for sure, as part of the UEE. They're part of the UEE. You'll see them on planets. Obviously, the Banu could be walking around some places, but they might be a bit more rare. And you'll certainly see them in their own systems and on their own ships. And they've got Xi'an as well, so they want them all in game, and they want them. You see them all on landing zones. Okay, the Alchemist. So there's technically sugar in almost everything. I'm just actively avoiding sugar and sort of like bad carbs and that sort of stuff. Say sugar's in curry. Well, I mean, you can have sugar in all meat. But I'm not having sugary curries. I'm having, for example, I just have a tandoori chicken. Something like that. Yes, obviously alcohol has sugar in it. You can get very low sugar alcohols and keto alcohol, in fact. Most of the food I prepare myself anyway. Would you rather CIG focus on new missions or new dynamic events? Both, not mutually exclusive. Oh. So I see you having a conversation with some Mojo about anxiety and stuff. I didn't see exactly what. I did a Tessa minister. Did a Tessa mission that resulted in me getting a crime stat 5 overall. It was a load of fun. Do you think the crime stat aspect of Star Citizen is more when it's more fleshed out? So I got a bit confused by the question. So there's definitely going to be a load more updates, even in 3.14, to bounty hunting and criminality and some of this gameplay. Obviously, the Ninetales Lockdown is supposed to have two sides. It's supposed to have the piratey side, in which you can join as players, or the Crusader security side, which you can join as players. And there's a lot more to do. And they're working on missile turrets for defenses, and that sort of stuff. Expect bounty hunter gameplay to be a bit more, a bit less bucky, and stuff as well with 3.14. But we need both sides of bounty hunting, not just the bounty hunters going after the criminals. We need reasons to be reasons to be criminals in certain areas rather than just randomly. You know what I mean? Give criminal players stuff to do and reasons to do it, and then you have the bounty hunters being able to provide additional gameplay to both the criminal and themselves, and the reasons to have escorts and things like that as well. Capacitors will force you to recharge, reload your weapons. How you reckon they will work for shields, regeneration, halt? Don't know yet. It could be great and it could be bad. I'm hoping that it's a fantastic thing for the game. That's what the hope is. Hoping that combat and PvP combat is a lot more fun and competitive again. But we don't know yet until it's in our hands and tested. We know that capacitors will allow you to put power into systems as a quick power boost. But exactly to what extent, I do not know yet. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my lumbar support, which is decided it hates me today. How much more money does Chris Roberts need in order to get this game done and over with? So, I think that Star Citizen, I think we could see Squadron 42 out towards the end of 2022, potentially. And I think that there'll be another at least 4 years of Star Citizen funding after that. I think they make a huge amount of money when Squadron 42 gets launched. And so if you include that money they make from that, what are they? They're about 420 million now, if you include all revenue sources they've got. We could genuinely see a $1 billion game. $1 billion game, maybe. If they put, depends on how much of the money they put from Squadron 42 back into Star Citizen's development, because they don't have to. But obviously they've got shareholders, and once they've released a product, they're going to want to draw money. They've got shareholders. They've got like the Calders that put money in. They're going to want to get some of their investment back, if not make money over their investment. So all of that money not be put back into Star Citizen. Yeah, I think another 300 million is quite a because it's not just going to be how much money do they need. It's going to be how much money will they make, which is I think they'll probably make more money than they need by quite some margin, but they're going to, at least until they release Squadron 42, be putting all of that money back into development of the game. I mean, and they're moving the German studio to that one new super building, and they got that new studio, turbulent-headed one, working on gameplay. And what is talked about that? When do mech suits come in? I love that avatar-looking mech suit, the concept art board. So we don't know when the Titan suits, is what they're referred to as, these sort of like Iron Man power loader hybrid suits are coming into the game. We know that they want Squadron 42. They know that they'd finished a load of work on them a while ago, but then they went silent on it, so we don't know. Will missions ever be more than a text page? I'd love to see cinematics. Well, obviously you've got some of those missions given by mission givers, which we'll go and visit. Some of them are going to be on comms. Some of them are going to be visual. Some of them are going to be a mixture of that. Some of them are going to be audio, like you have with the Kovalex Gundo investigation mission. So that some of them are going to be a mix of all this. Some of them are just going to be text. Are capacitors going to override the overheating? No. But I think that you might be able to put capacitor power into coolers, maybe. Will missions ever be... that's literally what I just talked about. Mission givers, I'm missing out. What? What do you mean? Have you not gone to see... Well, my set cart's relatively broken. There's loads of mission givers in the game, like Twitch Checo and that sort of stuff. You can go and see, to give you missions, and they talk to you, and that sort of stuff. It means that they're more handcrafted missions. On Horizon, for example, not in the initial release, but expected with Horizon version 2, at least by me, is Batista and Gibbs, the Crusader Security Outreach people there. In fact, you might meet them, or at least hear them audio-wise, as part of the Ninetales mission. Do you think now that they've finished iCache, they're using iCache and sort of dripping it in, and stuff's ready for it, but they need server meshing in, and they need full precision streaming and stuff like that as well to make use of it fully? Will we see faster improvements of AI in game? Well, they're working on AI at the moment, so... Will we actually see laser weapons at some point? Yes. Laser weapons are going to be a thing. Any idea about what sort of size the refinery ship's going to be? I think Constellation size, or that could be closer to Starfarer. It's going to, I expect, pretty modular in forms of what you can do reactor-wise. So refining reactors are what it's going to be, and you can have different processes going on in them, different materials, different types of reactor. Got a ban in merchant. That's alright. Talked about that earlier. I think it's possible that Star Citizen can make $1 billion before it's released. Genuinely do. In total funding. You right, Sarge, mate? Is this a different Sarge? Or is this a different account Sarge? I mean, I get that that might be a confusing statement. Do you believe lore will be used to provide beginning breadcrumbs to find secret things such as Derek's? Yes. There's definitely going to be some lore, some stuff you find in game, some stuff in alien languages, some breadcrumb stuff, some little hints at things that they're going to put in game like that. Yes, for sure. How much impact do you think the loot system will have on the game? Well, a huge amount, because you need to loot things. Looting and taking cargo, taking stuff off people's bodies is going to be a huge part of the game. It's also going to encourage piracy in a more interesting way, rather than just trying to blow everything up. With the rep system, will some outpost commodities be rep limited? Maybe in the future. They could certainly do something like that. They haven't overtly said that, though. Companies can request computation time here in Germany for our new IBM quantum computer. So CIG could technically do it. Oh, I see what you mean. They could make use of it. How goes the warhammering? Lazily. I played some Adaptus Titanicus recently. I bought some copies of Age of Sigmar Dominion because I was like, I'll buy some of that to sell later. Not scalping because there's a load of. I don't mind buying sort of limited releases like that as long as I'm not going, I'm going to buy 10,000 of them and crash the market. I've still got my Adaptus Mechanicus 40k armor to do. I want to at some point go and play John Crowan's Johnny Gervais, can't say his name, and some people from CIG go up and visit them in Winslow sort of area at some point because that would be cool. I need to actually get that army done. I have not bought yet the new Adaptus Mechanicus book. I should do that. You're talking about my main 40k army at the moment, my Adaptus Mechanicus, which I have yet to finish. I don't have a Age of Sigmar army though. What hardware do you play on? So I use mouse and keyboard for the most part. My favourite stick is the Virpil Constellation Delta and its associated throttle. They are amazing for Star Citizen. Zin actually has my Constellation Delta and throttle at the moment. But I think she's using mouse and keyboard as well. Hey brother, it's been a long time. But I need to cook breakfast for the boys. They should be cooking for me today. It's Happy Father's Day. I will catch you later on your YouTube. No worries, Sarge, mate. You take care. Peace. Yeah, so we could see ship discounts and item discounts when we grind rep. But certain, certain things get a bit cheaper. That makes sense. Access to certain gear and ships. Will Arc Corp be completely explorable, or is it just Area 18? So Area 18 and maybe a couple of other areas will be have a lot more exploration potential. You'll be able to land on lots of roofs, and there'll be missions associated with like potentially going into some of the buildings that you can land on. But it's not going to be the whole planet fully explorable, where you can fly over it. You can certainly fly over everything. What I'm aiming for is jungle biomes and animals nests. I'm not sure what methods CIG has theory crafted yet. They're throwing updates on Spectrum. Yeah. I'd love to see loads of new biomes and new aliens and stuff. I mean, we certainly want that for interesting gameplay and big game hunting. What do you think of the in-game shop prices, small, medium, and large, in relation to how quick you earn money at the moment? The economy's erratic, but you can earn money pretty quickly to get what you want, and there's obviously not much in the way of resets going on at the moment. So the only thing that's really cost prohibitive is the larger ships, which should have been bought with the group, and you can just, if you're working with an org or whatever, borrow money off each other or pool money. So. I may have missed if you answered my question about space EVA and navigation. I have not answered that question, but I did not see it. Orion anytime soon? I would not expect the Orion anytime soon. They did talk about it briefly. They will be looking at strip mining and the Orion in the future. But yeah, Orion will be in 3 to 4 years. Yeah, I mean, I think it will be in at least a couple of years. Do you think they will delay Squadron 42 until the PU and Theatres of War are more playable to a wider player base? No, I don't think it has an association with that, personally. Love your videos, Bored. Keep up the great work. Thanks for answering your questions. Well, thank you very much for asking them. I appreciate the love. Do you think Theatres of War will increase the player count permanently? As long as it's good. As long as it's good. If it's trash, then no. Or do you think it'll be Star Marine? It's fun, but low grounding potential. I think Star Marine was polished enough to grab a crowd. It was a clunky, middling shooter. Looking for a game for you and Zin and 2 others, GTFO. So GTFO, within our group of friends, caused some anger. What we played for when it originally came out as well. I might take a look at it again. Wooting 1 keyboard, best keyboard for Star Citizen? I know Noob swears by it. I'm using a Rockout Vulcan, although it's a bit manky now. How long are you going to be streaming for today? Not too much longer, actually, because I want to get a video out, and then I want to interview a community member in a bit. I'm also going to be spending a little bit of time with my dad for Father's Day. What else have we got? The CIG looking like they are focusing on getting bigger ships in game. Do you think we'll see the Polaris end of 2022? I think that's very, very possible. PvP training when? You know, I want to see both of you have a go of it. Yeah, so it means in our planning to learn some meta and do some PvP stuff for 3.14. I'm probably going to poke Noodle and a few of the other content creators as well to give us a bit of training. Do you think mech suits will be as powerful as vehicles like the Tonk or Ballista? No. So, obviously, Ballista, different type of vehicle, long-range artillery and anti-ship, potentially. Tonk, main battle tank, but it's going to be a bridge. It's going to be super heavy infantry, and it's going to be very useful. And you might be able to sneak up on a Tonk. You might be able to flank them. You might be able to do some interesting things with that. But it's one-on-one, the Tonk's going to rip it apart. So 3.14 should be wider PTU as early as the end of next week, although it could be a little bit longer. I'm thinking 3.14 live middle of July at the moment. With CIG looking, that's what we talked about. How old were you when you first learned about Star Citizen? $29. Now 36. Huh. Huh. I'll be in my 40s before the game is complete. It's good. It's fine. That was a cry of joy. Is Squadron 42 going to be a standalone or something integrated in the PU? So Squadron 42 is effectively a standalone game. It is Star. It might be on the same launcher though. I think that's one of the things that CryEngine or Crytek were suing CIG for, because when they had the original agreement, they're like, Squadron 42 and Star Citizen Universe will be the sort of same game, and they had a license for developing one game, but then they split it up into 2 games and used the Lumberyard Engine. And they went, we'll get some money from them. Is Star Citizen planning on adding construction, maintenance, shipyards, and ship junkyards? Yes. I mean, you'll see ship construction yards, for example, at Horizon. There's junkyards and stuff, scrapyards in game already, but I'd expect to see more junky yardy ship yards as well. 40 is the new 20s. Thanks. When will we get lightsabers? We've got little lightsaber knives already, but probably will get lightsabers at some point in the future. What else we got? I have a few more questions. Lol. While the bacon is frying, I would love to see fueling trucks like the one in the Polaris poster. Yeah, the little tiny one. What do you think? Stupid. I think you'll have refueling trucks and things. You'll have people moving around cargo trucks, refueling trucks. Makes sort of sense. Well, it won't complete ever, but probably CIG will get to the point where they will stop wiping in the next 6 years. They're going to keep on developing the game after a version 1 release. As we have seen in the past, CIG have a tendency to have interesting gameplay design when it comes to their mechanics in the game, so far like mining. Do you have any theories or thoughts on how they can implement the future of medical gameplay, plasma pens, med guns coming in the future? Yeah, you have people being able to be knocked down and picked up. You have different injuries that can be treated on different tables with the different tier systems of injuries, like near-death injuries needing the higher tier tables. You could have ways of treating people to get their lives back, things like that. There's quite a lot you could do with medical gameplay for sure. It doesn't need to be super, super complex either. But lots of different meds, lots of different drugs, scanning ability so you can actually scan people's vitals. Do you think all ships will be able to launch probes? No. You think it will be just a function of exploration ships? Well, exploration ships and ships that can launch probes, which will probably be deemed exploration ships as well. And not all exploration ships. Health insurance is going to be a lifesaver. Wow. It's a good pun. Well, not a pun. Okay. What's your thought on taxes for Star Citizen? What, the tax collection bureau in-game, or me having to pay VAT? I like the tax collection bureau and missions and stuff. That makes sort of sense. It's kind of a cool idea. Having to pay VAT on a digital good, I don't like, but I mean, I understand that it's necessary. I appreciate all the love. Thank you very much. Zin is not around yet. Maybe she will be later today. Do you have an idea when we'll get the Grey Cat armor? I'm hoping we get it in 3.14. When are the Grey Cat suit's gonna come? 3.14? I'm expecting them at 3.14, yes. Right. Do we have any other quick questions? So, yeah, I'm expecting 3.14 live, middle of July at the moment. That could obviously change. That's my I reckon. It's in Evacardi at the moment, 3.14. We are expecting, during the 3.14 cycle, multiple runnings of the Ninetales lockdown mission, which is really cool. Mission event. That sounds cool. We are also expecting at some point, maybe not in 3.14, maybe a little bit later, the Xenothreat Remastered event. So it is a rerunning of Xenothreat with a load of new features and stuff going on. Do you have any idea when the science gameplay will be included? Science gameplay is huge and encompasses a load of different stuff. You might see a couple of little science gameplay bits in the short mid-term. but I don't think science will be fleshed out properly, and ships like the Endeavour put into game for many years. I think it's one of the last gameplay loops they'll actually look at. I also sort of include craftings to some extent as part of that. Is the tax system going to monitor and gain bank output income? I'm expecting you'll get sort of taxed based on what system you're in and what missions you're doing. Tax will be automatic. I think that the Tax Collection Bureau mainly is in law purposes and to run missions as well, rather than to actually players do to send them their tax and stuff like that. I mean, it will automatically be done, would be my expectation. Sales tax and stuff like that, again, I expect to be automated. I love the Perseus. It's one of my favourite ships. I like it more than the Polaris, personally. Right. Any other quick questions? Because, yeah, so... try and get Zin's Law video out tomorrow, I think. I've got a news video to go live in a second. I really liked this week's, well, last week's, Inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live. Because Star Citizen Live, we had them talking about persistent universe features and gameplay they've got planned. Refineries going to have refinery ships, mobile refineries going to have reactors that you can set up for different ways and different materials. They talked about the Starfarer being this ship that you can set up for hauling or for refining or for refueling, or all of them. I'm assuming it's also going to be for mining gas as well. We had them talk about Star Citizen Live. I'm getting confused between Inside Star Citizen as well. Long distance probing, which is going to be a huge amount of like exploration type gameplay, you scanning down points of interest and being able to visit them, and sell the data, save them. Atmospheric depth is going to damage your ship. Loot generation with like looting corpses and stuff, that's going to be interesting. What else? Was there anything else? The resource management system, which was the pipe system for ships, is being worked on, things like that. Inside Star Citizen again was super interesting. Xeno Threat events getting remastered and rerun at some point. We've got the Nine Tails Lockdown, which is part of 3.14, and it's going to have quantum blockades at stations around Crusader. And you go, oh god, there's an event about to start, and it's dangerous around here. Maybe there'll be some interesting cargo opportunities. And then there's going to be a two-sided mission where you can either work for Nine Tails destroying a scanning ship, or work for Crusader security and protect these ships that are scanning down where the quantum blockades are. And then those missions will evolve beyond that with a couple of additional phases. I'm really looking forward to that. And I think they talked about the Redeemer and Retaliator and stuff like that, and the Ares all getting work. So, yeah, it was a really interesting week. Very limited sort of roadmap updates though. Do you know if they will update the deliverables for you on the roadmap, or add the Raylan or ship names like Scorpius? I mean, they will regularly update the deliverables on the roadmap, yeah. Every 2 weeks they do it, although it was very minor this week. Any chance at interviews and crossovers with CIG devs, content creators, and community? No pressure, your choice. I mean, I want to start interviewing community people. We're literally planning to interview a community member later today, a proper whale, this Star Citizen, and I'd love to interview CIG devs more regularly, especially when the lockdown ends. One of the reasons I want to run my own Star Citizen event. I'm a bit confused on homesteads. Will we be able to build our own base without the using that base building ship, or those homesteads purely for AI missions? So the colonial outposts and homestead stuff that you've seen so far, you might be able to have custom habs there, but they are largely building out a lot of this stuff, assets and stuff for AI and frontier outposts and things like that. Now, we might be able to build them as well. We don't need... we will be able to definitely build our own bases in the future. Might not be using exactly the same assets or whatever, but we won't need the Pioneer to build bases. The Pioneer will be a mobile factory, though, enabling us to build bigger bases and more things on bases. So they'll be very useful for a base. But you don't necessarily need a pioneer to build a base. That's what they have said. But the stuff that they're working on at the moment is not directly base building. As far as I'm aware, it is more general outposty, colonial outposts, which are steps towards base building. Might use the same assets in the future, but how big a whale are they? Like beluga whale, humpback whale, the biggest. Moby Dick. Tens and tens and tens of thousands, and potentially hundreds of thousands. Lots of money in that game. I can't talk about the extent of Evocati tests and whys and ones and whats. Unfortunately, because I'm an Evocati member. When are we getting the Retaliator rooms? So, Retaliator modularity. They are updating the Retaliator at the moment. So they're doing a little bit of a pass on the Retaliator. It's got some tweaks. It's got some updates. They've made its metrics more sensible. And I'm expecting to see Retaliator modularity in 3.15 at the moment, though it's not on the roadmap again. They pushed it off. I would expect it in 3.15 personally. How does CIG want to create money for the company when the game's released? So we'll have to wait and see. I've talked to Erin Roberts about this and some other devs. So they want to sell in-game currency. They want to sell gameplay packages. And there's obviously going to be voluntary subscriptions, merch, tickets for events. I think they're still going to sell ships and concepts personally, but that's the main way they wanted to do that. So we'll have to wait and see. But they didn't rule out anything there. They said, we'll do what's sensible. Right. I'm going to dash off. I'm going to find someone else to leave you with, because I want to get a video out, which is pretty much ready. So it'll go out in the next 5-10 minutes. So check it back on my channel really soon. I'm going to find someone who's online. I can push you over to. No, not me. Probably Mike is doing answer the call, so I'll pass you over to him. Right. I'm a beautiful little potato boy. That's what I look like. A bored little beautiful potato boy. Probably Mike's on. Already got your sketch therapy. No worries. Right. Love you guys loads. Thank you very much for joining me today. Thanks for everyone that pressed the join button on YouTube over the last few weeks. Bam. Bam. Self-marketing. Boo, boo, boo. Donations and the Patreons and the subscriptions, all that sort of stuff genuinely helps the channel grow, and me and Sin really appreciate it, or at least I appreciate it a huge amount. Sin appreciates it enough because then it becomes pay for her. Do you see? Thanks very much for watching. That's what I'm trying to say. Very much appreciated. You guys take care.